What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be working on the alignment of your car, particularly how do you straighten your steering wheel without affecting the alignment. Now, if you're like me, you're in your car on the highway on a straight road, driving straight, however you notice your steering wheel is a little crooked, either left or right. That drives me absolutely crazy. Obviously with the shape of a steering wheel, it's really easy to tell if it's a little crooked, and nothing bugs me more than going straight with a crooked steering wheel. Now, if you have not had an alignment done to your car in a long time, if your car is just drifting in general, you probably need to get a full alignment first. So this video basically pertains to anybody who had a recent alignment done and now notices your steering wheel is a little crooked. So with our Audi RS3, in the last 6 months or so, I've done lowering springs and wheel spacers, so we have our end lights and everything. Just had a professional alignment done to get that all in check. And after the alignment, I noticed the steering wheel is a little crooked. Even before the alignment done, the one that was done to factory from Audi, the steering wheel was never quite perfect. Now, how come a steering wheel can be off-centered? Well, when they're doing an alignment, basically the tech will get in your car, line up the steering wheel, lock it in place, perform the alignment. There is a chance that the steering wheel could move a little bit, or maybe their eyes aren't as straight as yours, or maybe your eyes are crooked compared to theirs. And this seems to happen in almost every one of my cars, so maybe my eyes are just a little crooked. But nonetheless, today we're going to show you how to fix that. So to go ahead and show you exactly what I'm talking about, driving in the center of the road here, the ground is perfectly angled on each side to where this will keep the car nice and straight. So as you can tell, we are driving perfectly straight. Hopefully you can tell that the steering wheel is a little crooked. Now if I straighten out the steering wheel, I am starting to cut over to the left. So once again, showing that if we are driving perfectly straight, the steering wheel is a little crooked. So with the steering wheel straight, the wheels are now turned to the left. So the goal is to turn the wheels to the right. That way a straight steering wheel will translate to a straight car. So after a quick drive in the RS3, when I'm driving the car perfectly straight, the steering wheel, from my perspective, is angled to the right. So when I turn the steering wheel perfectly straight, the car starts going to the left. So the goal is, for this particular case, I need to make both of my front wheels angle to the right just a little bit. That way when my steering wheel is straight, rather than my wheels being to the left, they are now straight and perfectly in line. Now, keep in mind, you have to do both front wheels. You'll see the adjustment I'm talking about in a second. You have to do both in the exact same amount of degrees. That way you don't mess up your alignment. If you just do one side and not the other, you will mess up your toe and then mess up your alignment. So with that all said, what we are going to adjust on the Audi is the tie rod end links. Now, if we go ahead, take a look underneath the car, here is the front hub assembly. Behind it, that bar right there is the tie rod end link. You can see there is a threaded portion, a spot to clamp onto, and then an extra nut. And then over on the other side, it will look exactly the same. And then for the driver's side, there it is once again. So you can see those threads right there. You can twist that black portion into the silver portion and effectively lengthen or shorten that tie rod end to effectively push or pull the edge of the tire. Now with your car, this one, it is on the back side of the hub. Some cars, this end link will be on the front side, like on my Toyota Supra. So it will depend on what car you have. But from here, as you can see with those adjustments, if I lengthen this, basically pushing this silver that way, that will push the back of the tire outwards, therefore angling the tire inwards. If we do it the opposite direction and shorten this, we're going to pull the back of the tire this way, which would poke the tire out to the left. So to start working on this, the tools you're going to need is a Sharpie marker, an adjustable wrench, and some blue painter's tape. Now, what we want to do is not lose track of how many times we are turning this black metal tie rod end. So we're going to take the Sharpie marker, just make a nice straight line on the underside, something that you can definitely tell is centered. And then we're just going to put that up on the end link in a spot just to give us another surface to draw a corresponding line with that one. So now, as you can see, we have a line on the silver and on the blue, so I know exactly where they are in relation to themselves. And then another thing you need to keep in mind is the pitch of these threads. So looking at them, they're pitched like this. So if I turn this way, they're gonna go into the silver, which will shorten this. So make sure you're aware of the pitch of the threads. That way, if you're turning this to the left, you're either shortening it or tightening it. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing. So we're gonna take the adjustable wrench, and this is the little safety lock nut right here. And you might turn the whole tie rod end a little bit. And since we need to make the wheels turn to the right, I know that I need to pull this inside this way, which pushes the front of the tire outwards. So looking at the pitch of these threads, I need to shorten this tie rod end, so I need to make the pitch of the threads go more into here. So with that, I need to pull this downwards. That way I will do a half turn, making it shorter. But with a half turn done, we're gonna pull that back and then tighten that all the way. So the passenger side all done, I'm now on to the driver's side. So once again, let's go ahead and just get a piece of blue tape. And then another little trick I'm doing, I've rolled up a little piece of painter's tape, and I'm actually going to stick that on the underside. That way I can feel the bump on the top, because I can't really see the black Sharpie marker. So I'll put this bump in line with where I'm going to draw my line. So if we now look at the threads, once again, the whole goal is to make the front tires aim to the right. So now I know I need to lengthen this one since we're on the opposite side. And looking at the pitch of the threads, once again, the pitch is going this way. So that means I need to pull this way, which would be counterclockwise from my exact view. All right, 1/2 a turn, lengthening the tie rod end, and now I can tighten up this safety bolt. So after making that adjustment, let's get to the center of the road now and track perfectly straight. So if I straighten the wheel now, I am just barely starting to turn to the right. So that means I did a little bit too much of a turn. A half turn was more than needed. So if we do that again, right in the center of the road, the car definitely drifting a little bit to the right. So after that test, I need to pull the wheels back to the left now because I did it too much. So I already loosened that one. So that means to bring this wheel aiming to the left, now I need to lengthen this. So kind of do the opposite of what I just did on this particular side. So in order to lengthen it, we need to turn this out of the silver portion. So now we're at a 90-degree angle from my original mark, and now this bump, black mark on the blue tape, is now 90 degrees. Originally I did a 180-degree turn. Now we're dialing it back to 90. So with that loose, now I need to shorten this tie rod end length once again, which means I need to pull this back into the silver. So twisting it 90 degrees forward until that is about in line at a 90 rather than a 180. So on to take 2 now, lining up with the center of the road. Looks pretty darn straight, and the car is tracking perfectly straight. So I think that was the trick, a 90-degree turn from each of the tie rod ends in the opposite direction to effectively bring both wheels in the exact same direction. But now we're tracking straight, and the steering wheel looks straight to my eyes. So at least it is straight for me. But yeah, that was effectively it. Not too bad. So after coming back from take 2, there you go. We've effectively fixed the issue. The steering wheel now is perfectly straight, with the car also driving perfectly straight. So basically, if you have a car with a fresh alignment and you notice your steering wheel is a little crooked, that is a really good, easy way to adjust the steering wheel without throwing off your alignment. I actually learned this from a performance shop who does this on their track cars and things like that to dial it in. So really cool tip and trick to do. Super easy, only took 20-30 minutes or so, depending on getting underneath the car. So just take all that into consideration. It might be a little bit different if your tie rod end links are on the front or the back of your wheel. So of course, adjust accordingly and make sure you do the exact same angle of turn, left and right. That way you're not gonna throw off the alignment. But there you guys go, fun video for today. Quick one to get that steering wheel straight. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.